All right, so I'm a little bit behind on baseball news. I know Narvaez got traded. We also have the signing of Michael Pineda. And then last night, the Rays traded Tommy Pham and a two-way player to the Padres for Hunter Renfroe, and as Blake Snell described him, a slapdick prospect in Xavier Edwards. So we're going to talk about all these news, but first, if you guys enjoy these types of videos and you want to see some more of them, make sure you hit the like button down below. That's the easiest way for me to know that you do enjoy these types of videos. In the description, in the comment section, leave a comment, let me know future videos you would like to see. And if you're new to the channel and enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And next to that subscribe button is a little bell icon. Go and give it a click. Make sure all notifications are turned on so you're notified whenever a video does go live. In this corner right here is going to be my most recent upload. If you haven't checked it out, go and give it a watch. And in the description are all of my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that good stuff. Go and give them a follow if you haven't already. So we're going to quickly talk about not necessarily a small move, but a move that is somewhat relevant. The Twins re-signing Michael Pineda. All right. 2 years, $20 million, not terrible. It's a veteran pitcher that the Twins, I guess, kind of need. They have Barrios, they have Odorizzi, and they're still trying to figure out the rest of the rotation. Obviously, losing Kyle Gibson to the Rangers was a bit of an issue, but I feel like the Twins really need to bolster this starting rotation, and getting someone like Keuchel, Mad Bum, someone like that would really help out. Michael Pineda is definitely your fourth or fifth starter. In 2 years, $20 million, it's not terrible. Last year with the Twins, he was what, 8-4? 11-5, which is pretty solid. A 4 ERA, which isn't terrible for a 4 or 5 starter, especially now in baseball with the juiced baseballs. And then you're looking at a whip at 1.15, which is really solid. Again, you're looking for someone to take up innings, take the load off the bullpen, make sure that you just have that consistent guy that you can throw out there every 5th, 4th, or 6th day. I know that was kind of a weird order to say it, but Michael Pineda is not a bad pitcher. Yes, he may be a cheater from time to time, but again, he's a really solid option to have out there as a 4th or 5th starter. And Michael Pineda for the Twins, it's not a terrible deal. It's nothing crazy, but I feel like they still need to make a move to pick up someone like a Keuchel, a Mad Bum, someone else that really bolsters that starting rotation. Okay, so let's talk about this Brewers trade with Narvaez, because I know I'm a little bit late and it happened a little bit earlier in the day, but let's talk about what the Brewers sent to the Mariners first, and it was a compensation pick or a balance pick in the future, and then also a prospector right-handed pitcher Adam Hill. He's 23 years old, spent most of last year in single A. He's 6'6", sitting at just over 200 pounds, so he's a really lanky pitcher, and I don't really see too much out of him. There are some years to develop still, but at 23 and he really sat in single A last year, I feel like, is there much upside to him left? Maybe he ends up being like a bullpen arm or potentially a 4th or 5th starter. But again, I don't feel like the Brewers gave up too much here. So I did say he spent most of last year in single A. He actually spent all of last year in single A. He's pitched 120 innings, sat at a whip at 1.38, so a little bit on the higher side, and his ERA finished at a 3.92. So again, it's not terrible stats. It definitely shows that he does have the ability to pitch a lot of innings. He's a right-handed pitcher, 4th round in 2018. So again, I don't think it's too much that the Brewers gave up. Yes, they did give up that balance pick, but I feel like it's nothing too crazy, and I feel like the Brewers really won this trade. So speaking of who the Brewers got, they needed to replace Yasmani Grandal and bring in a catcher with the offensive abilities of Omar Narvaez, who last year hit 22 home runs, 55 RBIs, batting average sat at just under 280, and his slugging was at OPS was at 813. I feel like they got a really good offensive catcher. The issue is you're losing Grandal, who is good defensively and offensively as a catcher. Narvaez really doesn't offer too much behind the plate as a catcher defensively. So you're really looking at him to be an offensive threat in the lineup and maybe be able to develop that ability as a catcher behind the plate. He's still young, I think he's 27, 26, maybe 28. So I think Narvaez here definitely fills that catcher void that the Brewers have, and I think the Brewers won this trade. I think this is a really good trade for them. I feel like the Brewers are in a weird spot though. They're looking to potentially trade Hader. They just brought in Luis Urias, who I feel like is an Arcia 2.0, a good fielder, but doesn't necessarily have the good hitting abilities. They're trading away other players. They're letting a lot of players go non-tender or free agency. I don't really know what the Brewers are doing. It's sounding like they're tearing down and then going into a rebuild phase rather than trying to win now, which they've been a playoff team for the last couple seasons. Why tear it down? Why not just build on what you already have? But I think this is a good piece. I feel like this is a catcher you can have for the next few years, potentially for the rest of his career. I feel like you have a really good catcher here. I think the Brewers won this trade hands down. So let's talk about the big trade that was yesterday. Tommy Pham and a two-way player in Jake Cronenworth for Hunter Renfroe and Xavier Edwards. So let's talk about what the Padres sent to the Rays. And first off, let's talk about Hunter Renfroe, because this is, I think this is more of like the lesser piece in the deal. Hunter Renfroe last year hit .216 with an on-base percentage of .289, a slugging of .489, and an OPS at .778, which you're kind of looking at someone to hit at least, you have an OPS at like 800 or above. So Renfro, I think last year had a very disappointing season. He does have some pop off the bat, 33 home runs and 64 RBIs. But again, I feel like he's underperforming. He's always been someone who's known to have that capability to hit a lot of home runs, have that run production. He's an okay fielder, but again, I feel like he's been underperforming, and I feel like, is this a really good piece for the Rays? I don't know if they're just looking for someone to plug that left field spot, but I feel like I'm really not sold on Hunter Renfroe. I feel like he's been overhyped. Batting average has been sitting in the low 200s for most of his career. On base percentages, meh. OPS has only hit above 800 once in his career. So yes, he may have 26 plus home runs every single season, but again, I don't think this is an amazing piece in a trade. I feel like the Padres were just trying to empty out some outfield spots, especially with the addition of Tommy Pham. His contract, Renfroe's, is pretty friendly, $3.4 million for the next few years. I think it's till 2023, but I don't know. I feel like at a player who's like, what, 27 now, I think he's just in a weird spot, and maybe change of scenery is what he needed, and we'll see how he does in Tampa Bay. And let's talk about this prospect now, because Xavier Edwards, number 5 in the San Diego system, which is pretty filled with some top prospects, number 72 in the top 100 prospects in all of MLB. He was a 38th overall pick. I had that written down so I didn't forget it. But as a 20-year-old, spent all of last season in single A or advanced A. He had a slash line of 322, 375, and 396 with 34 stolen bases. So he's 20 years old. He plays the middle infield spot, second and short, but he's joining a Rays farm system that's really filled at that position. You're looking at Wander Franco, the number 1 prospect in baseball. You have Vidal Brujan, number 3 in the farm system of the Rays. They have Greg Jones at 18, Lucius Fox at 19, and I think they have another guy in the Rays' top 20 prospects. So you're looking at a farm system that already have 5 of their top 20 prospects being middle infielders, and now you're adding another top middle infielder. Are they looking to pick up trade pieces, or are they really trying to develop just a really stacked infield? Xavier Edwards, I think, has a lot of upside, and even though he's described as a slapdick prospect by another MLB pitcher, I feel like this is a decent pickup. He's 20 years old, a lot of room to grow, and just in single A, he hit the ball really well. I feel like, yes, you're adding to an already very strong middle infield for your farm system, but I feel like this guy's got a lot of upside, and it's a pretty decent pickup. So now let's talk about what the Rays sent to San Diego. We'll talk about Jake Cronenworth first, a two-way player, 26 years old, spent last year in AAA, and his slash line offensively was 334, 429, and then 520. So again, he's actually showing really good hitting ability, like 334 average, solid. The thing with him is he's saying he's a two-way player. He pitched 7 times last year, 6 as an opener and once as a bullpen arm. Had a 0 ERA, which is really promising. The thing with him is 7 innings pitched, 8 walks. That's kind of questionable, maybe some control issues there, but he's showing a lot of upside offensively, so maybe you just use him as an offensive player, and if it really needs to, or he really shows that he's developing as a pitcher, then you can maybe use him as a bullpen arm. The thing with him is he plays middle infield, which I think the Padres could use another middle infielder. Yes, Ian Kinsler's there. Yes, Greg Garcia's there, but I feel like Cronenworth could be a decent platoon guy that they bring in from time to time to help take the load off or take the days off of Tatis, Profar, who's now going to play second base if they really need that day off, Machado, who needs a day off. So I think Cronenworth could break spring training with the team, potentially make the MLB roster. So now let's talk about Tommy Pham, who is kind of the big piece of this trade. You're looking at the new left fielder for the Padres, and last year had a pretty decent year. 273 average, 369 on base, 475 slugging, and an OPS of 818. So really solid year. Had 21 home runs, 68 RBIs, and can really sit at the top half of the lineup. Tatis is coming back healthy, so now you have your leadoff hitter. Tommy Pham can be that 2 or 3 hitter. You have Machado, and your outfield is starting to take shape. You've already added Trent Grisham, which was a decent pickup from the Brewers. You have Will Myers already. Tommy Pham's there. Manuel Margot's there. I feel like if you can figure out Manuel Margot's, just, is he really going to make it now? Is he going to show that he can hit the baseball consistently and be more than just a speed option? You have a solid outfield there. Pham, Margot, Will Myers, or Trent Grisham. I feel like that's a good outfield. Very solid. The Padres are showing that they're trying to win now, and Pham is a veteran leader. He's a really good veteran. He's shown that he can hit NL, AL. It doesn't matter because obviously he was with the Cardinals before he was traded to the Rays. So I feel like Pham here is a great pickup from the Padres, and you're adding a veteran leader to a team that's pretty young outside of Eric Hosmer and I guess you could say Manny Machado. So I think this is a really good pickup for the Padres, and it shows that they're really trying to push in the West, which their main competitor is going to be the Dodgers. Yes, there's the Giants. Yes, there's the Diamondbacks, and I think the Rockies are kind of the worst team in the West right now. But I feel like the Padres are really starting to push, and if you can add a couple more starting pitchers to this team, I think this team's really a team to look out for in the future. So with that being said, we're going to end it here before I start blabbering more, just saying whatever I want to say that just doesn't make sense. So again, kind of recapping it, Pineda to the Twins, decent pickup, 4th or 5th starter. You got Narvaez to the Brewers, which I think the Brewers, one great catcher to have on your team. And then when you're looking at the Rays and Padres trade, I think the Padres won it for today. And if Xavier Edwards ends up turning out, I think the Rays won it in the future. But for right now, the Padres were looking for players who can make an impact now, and Tommy Pham definitely fills that void. That Hunter Renfroe, I feel like was kind of more of an issue than an actual player that would help out. So with that being said, we're going to end it here. I hope you did enjoy it. Thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and enjoyed the content. And as always, in the comment section, let me know future videos you would like to see. There's going to be 2 videos on screen now. One of them is going to be the most recent upload, and also the second is going to be a video that YouTube recommends you check out. I hope you did enjoy the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.